Hello, everyone. My name is Jennifer Ramirez, and I am the founder and executive director of And Rise, a nonprofit organization. And I also am the CEO of And Flourish, which is a coaching business for moms and single moms who are looking to kick stress, fear, and insecurity out the door so that they can build a life or business that they love and are proud of. So, tonight I would like to go over how I got out of debt. Before I start, let me give you a little bit of background on how I got into debt in the first place. Dun dun dun. The culprit of my massive debt, credit cards. It all started when I was 18. I got my first credit card with a limit of $200 and I did quite well with only using it when I needed it and then paying it back right away. The reason I got credit cards in the first place was to build credit and probably for more credit cards. And it wasn't until I had my daughter that things got out of hand. I was a 21-year-old single mother on only one income and had to pay rent, car notes, bills, and on top of that, I was buying diapers and formula for my daughter. It was also an unfortunate time. My daughter was born in August of 2006, so by the time she was 1.5 years old, we hit the 2008 recession, which meant I was paying almost $60 a week for gas that I could barely afford since it was close to $5 a gallon back then. Long story short, I accrued almost $25,000 worth of credit card debt, and it was a curse and a blessing all at the same time. Had I not had credit cards, I would have been out on the streets and we would have never been able to make ends meet without them. I am thankful that I even had that option of paying with credit back then as my struggle was real. I got so buried in debt that I didn't realize that I was only paying interest every month, and I was wondering why my balance was never going down. And this is how they get you, people. I was young, uneducated, and very uninformed. I was simply trying to make ends meet, and I just didn't have the knowledge on that I have now with money and finances. The pressure of my debt was getting to me, and all I could think about was how was I going to get out of this mess. I finally decided to do something about it. I went to a debt consolidation company. But before you do this, make sure it is a legit and reputable company and check to see how much their cut is. There's no point in consolidating your debt if you're just going to pay someone else whatever you were previously paying as interest. Once I did this, I finally began to see my balance go down. Woohoo! So eventually, I learned from credit consolidation from the company, and I withdrew myself from the program to save money. I simply started with my smallest debt and worked my way up to the highest balance I had. For example, I had a credit card with $15,000 and a few other cards with balances of under 1,000. So I started with the small cards first and knocked them out. My advice is to either do what I did and start from your small debts to your large debts or pay off whatever debt has the highest interest. Another piece of advice, pay attention to your interest rates. Depending on your credit, you may not have any options, but if you have fair to excellent credit, do not get cards with interest higher than 20%. For the love of God, guys, don't do it. Personally, if I see a card with over 20%, I'm not even touching it because that's a simply ridiculous amount to pay for borrowing money. The most dangerous cards are department store cards, so pay attention to the APR and you may even change your mind about signing up altogether. Additionally, if you can pay more than the monthly minimum payment, do yourself a favor and do it. This will help you down or pay down your debt faster. One of my other secrets is that I still use to this day is good old balance transfers. Balance transfers are an awesome option if you know how to utilize them properly. Your credit card company will usually give you a great rate for transferring over a balance from another card. For example, let's say I have $1,000 on a credit card A that I'm paying 15% interest on every month. Now, credit card B is offering 0% APR for 12 months for a 3% fee of your balance. You can either continue to pay that 15% every month, which is around 150 if you pay off that card within 12 months. If you're paying the minimum payments, the amount of interest would be higher, or you opt for the 0% at only at 3% of $1,000, and that would only cost you $30 for 12 months. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to see which is the better option. However, beware, always read the small print because some balance transfers that aren't paid within the agreed time frame will end up charging you your normal interest rate from the start of the balance transfer. So always know what you're getting yourself into before you agree to doing it. And if you aren't sure, simply call your credit card company and have them explain you what the process is. Um, and the last piece of advice I will leave you with is don't give up. consistency is key with anything in life. I know what it feels like to see that high balance and thinking it will take forever for it to go down. Remember, the time will pass anyway. It may take time, but if it will happen if you stick to your plan and execute. While you're trying to get out of debt, you must sacrifice. Even if that sacrifice means missing a vacation this year, skipping out on that impulse buy, staying away from shopping for a while, or even as simple as eating out one day less than you do now. In order to get ahead in life, we must make sacrifices, and getting out of debt is completely worth it. Trust me. It's better to suffer a little short term than to still be in debt 10 years from now because you didn't know how to stay disciplined. So if anyone has any advice of their own on how they got out of debt, any any tips or tricks on how you did it, please feel free to comment below. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. I am a resource to you. I am not a financial expert in any means. However, I make these videos just based on my personal experiences, and that's how I personally got out of debt. And I love to share my story because I hope that my story empowers somebody else to try to get out of debt and empowers them to actually do it. Yeah, being financially free is a beautiful, wonderful feeling. And guess what? When you don't have debt to pay, then you just have money coming in and you can do whatever you want with it. That's another video that I have is learning how to invest your money, not just, blowing it because you got it and buying shoes and cool cars and all that stuff. Yeah, and I'll make another video on that. So I hope you guys enjoyed this and found it useful. And if you have any questions, you can reach me directly at Jennifer at womenrisechicago.org. Take care, guys. Thanks for watching.